All right, so while everyone's eyes are on solar panels and wind turbines, something huge is happening in the energy world, kind of flying under the radar. It's a massive change in how we think about nuclear power. And believe me, it's about to go big.
And that quote, it really nails it. Because the technology we're talking about today, it's not just a smaller version of the old stuff. It's a whole new playbook for making clean, reliable power.
So take a look. This is the new face of nuclear. Seriously, forget those giant cooling towers and sprawling power plants you've seen in movies. We're talking about something way more compact, way more flexible, and honestly, it could completely transform our energy future. So, let's get into it. What exactly are these small modular reactors, or SMRs for short? I mean, the name gives you some hints, but it's the differences between them and the traditional nuclear plants that make them such a revolutionary idea. The difference in scale here is just staggering. On one hand, you've got the traditional reactors. These are enormous, custom-built projects that can take more than a decade to get up and running. And on the other hand, SMRs. They top out at around 300 megawatts, are built like clockwork in a factory, and can be put together on site in just 2 to 3 years. It's a total game changer. And this is what modular really means in practice. Instead of a one-off, massive construction site, you're essentially manufacturing reactors. It's more like a car factory. You build standardized parts with incredible precision, ship them out, and then assemble them on site. This process gives you way better quality control, and because you're mass producing them, the costs come down and delays basically disappear.
But honestly, the biggest leap forward might be in safety. These things are designed to be inherently safe. They rely on what's called passive systems, things like gravity itself to cool the reactor. That means even if the power goes out and no one is at the controls, it takes care of itself. Some of these designs are so safe, they don't even need a big emergency evacuation zone around them.
So, okay, this isn't just a cool piece of engineering for its own sake. This tech is being positioned as a potential silver bullet for one of the toughest challenges in energy policy, something called the energy trilemma.
For decades, nations have been stuck making these impossible choices, right? You can have cheap energy, but it's probably dirty. You can have clean, sustainable energy, but maybe it's not super reliable. Or you can have secure energy that you control, but wow, is it expensive. The Holy Grail has always been hitting all three at once, and that's been incredibly difficult to do.
And this is where SMRs just blow everything else out of the water. This chart shows something called capacity factor, which is really just a fancy way of asking how often is it actually on and making power. Now, we need solar and wind, but they only work when the conditions are right. SMRs, they run at over 95% capacity. That's constant, 24/7 clean power. The kind of rock-solid, baseload power that a modern grid absolutely has to have to stay stable.
And we're not just talking about powering your home here. The potential uses are incredible. You've got major tech companies looking at SMRs to power the massive data centers needed for this AI boom. They can also provide the super high temperatures needed to make things like steel and chemicals without carbon, or even produce clean hydrogen fuel.
So, with all this incredible potential, you can guess what happened next. It kicked off a brand new kind of global race. And this isn't just about who has the greenest energy. We are talking about a high-stakes competition for technological supremacy, for economic dominance, and for national security. And this race, it's already well underway. China and Russia are the first ones out of the gate. They already have operational SMRs online. They've been able to move faster thanks to centralized government control. Meanwhile, you've got the US and the UK pouring billions of dollars into their own programs, trying to catch up and get their first commercial units running by the end of the decade. This quote just cuts right to the chase. For a lot of countries, this isn't just about hitting climate goals. It's a direct line to energy independence. It means you're no longer at the mercy of volatile fossil fuel markets or the political games that other countries can play with their energy exports. But okay, let's be real. The path from a brilliant new idea to a mainstream energy source is never a straight line. SMRs definitely have some serious hurdles they need to clear.
You've basically got three big ones. First, the rules. Most of the regulations we have were written for those giant, old-school reactors. They just don't make sense for this new factory-built model. Then, there's public perception. You have to earn people's trust and overcome decades of fear about nuclear. And finally, there's the cost of the first ones. The first-of-a-kind projects are always the most expensive, before the real economic benefits of mass production start to kick in.
But even as we're figuring out how to solve those problems, the next wave of this tech is already on the horizon.
We're talking about so-called Generation 4 designs, things like molten salt and high-temperature gas reactors, which could be even more efficient and, get this, can even run on existing nuclear waste. I mean, turning waste into fuel. It's just incredible.
But there is a catch, and it's a big one. A lot of these advanced designs need a new type of fuel called HALEU. Think of it as a more potent, more efficient uranium that lets these reactors be smaller and run longer. And here's the huge geopolitical twist. Russia currently has a near monopoly on making it commercially. This has created a critical bottleneck, and now Western nations are in a mad dash to build their own HALEU production facilities to secure their own energy independence.
But despite all of these challenges, the economic momentum is just undeniable. The global SMR market is projected to be worth nearly $14 billion by 2032. The investment is pouring in, the factories are being planned. This is happening.
So we end on this thought. The technology is real. The need for clean, reliable power is crystal clear. And the global race is on. The question isn't if SMRs are going to transform global energy, it's who is going to lead that transformation.